COVID-19 is on everyone's mind, on everyone's lips. It has moved from one corner of the earth and now it's here with us. From China to Italy to the United States and now right here in Africa. It is ravaging families. It is now a pandemic and people are worried. Communities are concerned. They're wondering what to do. Many are asking, what exactly is this pandemic? What is coronavirus? How does it move from one person to the other? Is there something that can be done? Can I boost my immunity? To help me answer these questions today, I have a doctor on board, Dr. Diane. We're so glad to have you here. And we are so glad that each one of you have tuned into your favorite TV channel. My name is Gladys Ombongi, a nutritionist, and I'm so happy to have you. Stay tuned and let's learn some more. Daktari, what is coronavirus?
Now, coronavirus is actually a group of viruses, and this group of viruses usually cause disease in animals most of the time, mammals and especially birds. And what corona means is a crown. You know, you've heard of coronation of a king, like we're looking forward to the coronation of the King of Kings. Corona just means a crown. And why do we say it's a crown? When you look at the virus itself, it's what we call an mRNA virus. That is, RNA is a material that makes part of your gene. And looking at the virus, it has an envelope. And on that envelope, it has something like a halo, something shining, or different spikes that make it look like it has a crown. And that's why they are called, you know, coronaviruses.
And it looks scary. Really? It does.
I actually think it looks beautiful.
All right,
because of the crown.
Okay.
Yeah, but the specific coronavirus we are dealing with is something called SARS-CoV-2. What does that mean? That means severe acute respiratory syndrome virus or coronavirus type 2, if you'd want. Yeah, so it's just a type of coronavirus, probably one that has come from a mutation of an existing coronavirus that has spilled over. You'll hear of a concept in medicine called spill over in diseases. It has spilled over from the animal kingdom into the human kingdom. Yeah, and you'll find coronaviruses have caused different diseases in the past. For example, MERS in the year 2002 or in the 2000s, and we have SARS also. Before MERS is just the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, and SARS is Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. All of them were caused by coronavirus. So it's not the first time that the world is experiencing an outbreak of corona.
In fact, I realized that there are many coronaviruses, and in other cases, they have been found to cause even intestinal issue, gastrointestinal.
True. Like if you find a person who's infected with SARS-CoV-2, some of the symptoms that some people might end up having if it infects their gastrointestinal system is you'll end up with diarrhea. Yeah, and because it really affects your gastrointestinal system. But the most common that this specific strain is affecting is your upper respiratory tract, and after it moves down, it goes on to affect your lungs, causing your lungs to fail and severe immune response, and that severe immune response will affect other organs, leading to death.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now that gives us a good overview of what it is. Does that separate from what COVID-19 is? Is there a difference between coronavirus and COVID-19? Can I use those names interchangeably to mean the same thing?
COVID-19 is the disease. What COVID means is coronavirus disease, and 19 because it started in the year 2019. So it's the disease caused by SARS-CoV-2. So the virus is just SARS-CoV-2, but the disease is COVID-19. Some people may use it interchangeably to mean one and the same thing, but the significance of the names is that one refers to the virus, the other one refers to the disease that is caused by the virus.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That makes it clear now. At least we are able to separate the two.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are some of the symptoms of this condition?
Initially, some people will have a fever. You will experience a fever. And why fever? When you have a foreign object, a foreign body coming into your body, the body wants to deal with it. How does it deal with it? It produces certain chemicals that are called cytokines, like interleukin 1, 2, and TNF alpha. Big names for just chemicals that cause inflammation. And that inflammation, when it goes to your brain or the hypothalamus, it resets your temperature, like your temperature set points, and now you experience a fever, which will be one of the first symptoms. Some of the first symptoms will be a sore throat, yeah, people coughing, and a dry cough for that matter. Then you can have a runny nose, and after that you'll start experiencing other symptoms like difficulty in breathing or chest congestion, which are some of the later symptoms that come with COVID disease. In later stages, you'll find people going into renal failure, into severe inflammatory response syndrome, which comes out of the inflammation or immune response that comes with COVID-19. So those are some of the earliest symptoms that people will experience. The ones to look out for are fever, a sore throat, dry cough, and runny nose. Yeah.
I went straight into the symptoms because
Exactly.
that's what we think all the time. And we even don't remember how a disease was transmitted.
Yeah.
So now, could you please tell us a little bit more? How does it get transmitted?
So how it's transmitted, for the specific COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2, it is still, very unclear, but for all coronaviruses, the mode of transmission has been droplet infection. What do I mean by droplet infection? When someone is speaking or when someone sneezes, there are few droplets from their respiratory system that are released into the atmosphere, and if someone is close to them, they get into contact with those droplets, and then they get the infection. Or if you touch your nose after sneezing, or you breathe or cough into your nose, some of those droplets end up on your hands, and if you greet someone, you pass the droplets to the person, and then they end up getting the infection. However, in the recent weeks, we have found out, or there is news that is displaying, that coronavirus can actually survive in the air for a few hours and on surfaces, metallic surfaces and cardboard. And that could be a possible way that the coronavirus is actually being transmitted. Though you notice that initially the virus could have come from, diet.
Yeah.
It's rumored in MERS and in SARS that the people who got the first infection got it from eating some wrong kind of thing. And there, I think you are the expert. What does diet actually have to do with pandemics and with lifestyle illnesses?
For sure. For many years, we have had many pandemics. In fact, globally, we have had 3 or 4 major pandemics. I think of the influenza one that was so recent in the 1900s, which swept millions and killed millions across the world. Yes, diet has a role to play. And in this particular one, when we think of many viruses, Daktari, we think of the kind of sources where we get them. I don't know if you mentioned that they actually work. This particular one may have jumped from some animals. It's thought to be bats.
It's possible, yes.
So for the same reason, food is really what we eat day to day. And then you think of the bats. We have had some other ones come from rats.
Yeah.
We've had other pandemics come from camels and even civil rats.
So is there a problem if I, eat a rat, a camel, and, organisms like that, as opposed to my usual cow meat and my chicken and fish? Would there be a problem? Because some people perhaps have eaten these things and you're okay. Is there a problem in the nutrition that is in these
animals.
Animals.
Yes, there is a problem. God, in His wisdom, sorted out the animals for us.
Yeah.
And He set out a set and said, let's have these as the clean animals and these as the unclean animals. For the simple reason that when you take the unclean animals, some of the microorganisms and the viruses and even bacteria that can actually live in these animals, when they get to the human body, the kind of infections they would cause would not be the same as those you'd have from the clean sources. So
Yeah.
eating your chicken and your cow is a good thing because those are considered to be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from a few things that we're doing lately, but when you take a cow that is feeding on grass, not the one feeding on feed that has been made from animal products, that explains where we got the mad cow disease.
And are there specific ways or considerations I need to put in place when I'm preparing, for example, if I take meat, are there specific ways of preparing the meat I take so that I avoid illness? Because you'll find in some countries people eat raw meat and cooked meat like sushi, or just taking blood from an animal like the Maasais in our country do. Does that have a role in transmission of zoonotic diseases or the diseases that exist in animals?
It does have a role to play. And when you're consuming animal products, it's always good to boil them as much as possible. Pour out the water if you can, because you know life is in the blood, doctor. You know this. And it's only in these animals and in particularly in the blood, that's where we get most of the microorganisms that worry us and cause lots of problems. So hygiene is key. You need to wash your products very well. You need to make sure you don't mix uncooked and cooked products as much as possible. And even the surfaces that you use. If you're using a wooden chopping board, we are not so sure what kind of microorganisms are left in there and are growing. In fact, it has been found in many kitchens. The kitchen surface towels that we use over and over again are carriers of so many microorganisms. So hygiene is key in the preparation, in the cooking, and even in the serving of these products.
All right, and now seeing that diet actually has a lot to do with coronavirus, right after the break, we should be able to continue with who is most at risk. Join us shortly.
Welcome back. Just before the break, we were discussing who are at risk. Now, Daktari, tell me, who are these people who are most at risk? And also you could touch on the vulnerable groups.
All right, so the most at-risk groups are those people who have come into contact with patients who suffer from COVID-19. And these risk groups would be healthcare workers. That's why healthcare workers need to be very careful with how they handle their patients, and also relatives who have come into contact with those people who have COVID-19. If one of your friends or relatives has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and you have come in close contact with them in the last 7 to 14 days, then you are at risk. But then we have vulnerable groups like you asked. And the vulnerable groups here are people who are immunocompromised. Who are immunocompromised? That is people suffering from diabetes because it affects your immunity. People who are on steroids for any reason. That would be if you have an autoimmune condition for which you have to use a steroid. People who are asthmatic, and asthmatics are vulnerable twice in this way. That sometimes when you're asthmatic, you are put on a steroid inhaler, and your lung also already has a physiologic deformity. And people who have cystic fibrosis, so people like that are very vulnerable. If you're suffering from any chronic illness, and by chronic illness I mean if you have hypertension, if you have a cancer of any type, and if you're undergoing chemotherapy or radiotherapy, a lot of the times chemotherapy will affect your immunity. And people who are old, and children.
Oh, yeah.
Because as you age, your immune response is kind of regulated.
True.
It changes, and how you respond to pathogens is different from a young and vibrant person. I don't mean that the young cannot get COVID-19.
I get you.
Yes.
I get you. So you're talking about various groups.
And by the way, actually, these various groups, you'll find that the underlying factor for them is the concept of immunity, that their immune system somehow cannot handle certain responses. And you find even people who are stressed or depressed, it affects their immunity. And in this field, I actually think you are the expert when it comes to immunity on, you know, what can we do to boost our immunity naturally and what actually affects our immunity.
Yes, we need to boost our immunity because, you know, trying to fight coronavirus is like trying to run away from a fire that is right behind you. So probably you have to really do a lot of work. But we can protect ourselves, and foods that are rich in vitamin C will be very helpful. In this case, I'm talking about plenty of fruits. You need to enjoy your usual variety of fruits and have them in volumes or in cups and plates. I mean, just have fun. Eat your fruits. They're very helpful and they'll help you boost your immunity.
Yes.
The other thing that you need is to make sure that you have foods that have nitric oxide. Foods that have nitric oxides are very useful because the same work they do in cleaning up your blood, they will do the same business in helping you fight this disease. They'll help you boost your immunity. And I'm talking about vegetables. They're right behind you. Can you see them?
Yes.
Plenty of them. You need to eat your celery, you need to eat your kales, spinach, and of course you need all the traditional vegetables. We are very blessed in this part of the country. Then you need to think of other foods that will help you deal with boosting your immunity. And in this point, I'm thinking of having your leek in plenty, having your, you know,
Garlic.
Yes. And you know, many people like garlic. It's good antioxidant to help you again fight and boost your immunity. So this combination is good, but never forgetting our usual greens, the wide variety, have the color, the rainbow color. Don't focus on just one type of green. You know, many people just think, oh, since I'm a vegetarian and I'm not taking any meat, I'm good, I can have my usual beans, you know, just that and that's it. Not true. There are so many, and in this country, we are blessed. We have such a rich variety of grains. So you can enjoy.
I noticed you didn't mention a few things. You
Which
didn't mention milk.
Okay.
You didn't mention meat.
Oh, yes.
You didn't mention some starches. Are they good for immunity? Can I just keep taking my usual food and I'll be okay?
Starches, we need them, especially those in their natural form. We need them in plenty. What we probably want to go a little bit slow is animal products, specifically milk and milk products. You want to go a little bit slow on them. You want to go slow on your meat and meat products as well. And inflammation foods. Wheat is the greatest culprit. It's not even here on my table today for the same reason. And of course, you need to avoid sugar. We love sugar. We have a relationship with our sugar.
By sugar, you mean sweet things, including fruit?
Not that one.
The
I
sugar,
mean the
sugar.
crystallized one. You know, the processed sugar. You can go on other forms of sugar. You can have it from your
dates, jaggery.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, and you can also have it from other sources like sugar cane. All that would give you good sources of sugar. But even all kinds of food, you know, they are really converted into sugar. Yeah, so this would help you generally boost your immunity. But it doesn't stop there. You need vitamin D. Vitamin D, we need to be out there in the sun. Most of us believe we are in the tropics, so we enjoy sun throughout, but not always true. And vitamin D deficiency is not always as low as we think. And that is something you want to do all the time.
Okay. Are there other things around lifestyle that we can do to boost our immunity apart from diet?
Yes, there are things we can do to make sure that we are healthy and are enjoying ourselves. One of the things is to focus on our entire lifestyle. And here I'm talking about nutrition. So you always want to have a wide range of foods. You need to eat at the right time. It's always important. The right amount and the right foods, of course. Then you go into exercise. Exercise is one thing that many people struggle with. You know, nutrition is easy. If someone threatens you, you don't need to eat this, people drop and they move on.
Yes.
But exercise, I tell you, it requires so much energy. You need to lift those muscles. You need to walk. You need to dig if you can. You need to do exercise. Then, of course, you need water, plenty of water. And particularly for this condition, you want to have a lot of water. Water, we have known for a long time, is 8 glasses, but depending on your weight, you have a recommended amount of water that you require. So the heavier you are, the more water you need. 8 glasses is really conservative, I'll tell you, really conservative. So we need to do a lot more than that. Then we have other things like sunshine, so always stay out there. Take your 1 hour, at least around between 10 and 11, 12 there. Then again about 3, 4, spend 30, 45 minutes out in the sun to enjoy the sunshine. A free
antioxidant.
Yes, it does that all the time.
Anti-inflammatory.
Yes, it does all that. Then you, with all this, the other aspect we require is temperance. We must always be temperate in all things. Saying yes to the good and saying no to that which is bad. And even that which is good, having it in the right measures. Then of course there's air. We need to do deep breathing. We always breathe wrongly. When we are born as children, we do a lot of deep breathing. But as we grow older, we do a lot of shallow breathing. So we need to try deep breathing.
So what exactly is deep breathing? Can we demonstrate
what
deep breathing is?
Now, when you want to do deep breathing all the time, your shoulders should not move and you should make air to get in through your nose and you make your belly to really go out. Can I try?
Yes, and you can try with us at home. Let's try this. And you breathe in, out. In, out. Did you notice that our shoulders did not move? But for many of us, we are used to breathing in like this. Out.
Yes. And all the time we used to be told, breathe in, and everybody's shoulders would go up.
True.
I know that. Now, the other aspect is about rest. We all need to have at least some good 8 hours of sleep and also frequent amount of rest in between our work activities. And then there is trust in God. This is a tough time. We need to know that God is in control. One other thing, Dr. you must not forget is your thoughts. What are you thinking? Are you so worried? Have you shopped so much? Those thoughts, you need to have the right thinking.
All right, interesting thoughts. And I know some of us are busy walking around with sanitizers and we're thinking, what other way can I prevent this disease? What should I do so that I prevent this disease? A sanitizer is a good way to prevent disease because if you happen to come into contact with a surface or say hi to someone, you can easily put on your sanitizer and just rub it on your hand and you know, it's clear. But how many times can you actually use a sanitizer? Some scientists recommend 4 to 5 times before you wash your hands.
So it's not a forever thing?
No.
All right.
It's not something you do all the time. After every 4 to 5 times, some scientists actually say that after 5 times, everyone requires to wash their hands before they can start using the next round of sanitizers. Yeah, so people need to still wash their hands.
True.
Yes.
Speaking of hand washing, how exactly should we wash our hands? Do you just dip them in and out you go?
There is actually a procedure for washing hands. The first thing on that procedure is you want to wet your hands. I'm going to use the sanitizer to demonstrate how to wash hands.
Okay.
So you first of all want to...
Can I try with you?
Yes, you can.
All right.
You can Try with me. I'll put some sanitizer. This is going to be our water and our soap. Okay. So you wet your hands first with water, then pick soap after wetting your hands and lather the soap on your hands, you know, like this. Just rubbing it slowly by slowly. Then take your fingers and start washing right here. I hope you can see my hands. And you scrub, scrub, scrub all around, and then the other side, scrub, scrub, scrub. All right, and then let's go to our thumb and go round, 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 and wash your fingers again. Round, round, round. Okay.
You think people are patient to do all this?
You have to be, so that you get all the bacteria out. Then put your hands together and do this like a seesaw. Then go around your hand like this and go behind like this. And then now wash again like this and like this. And then you can rinse your hand and then you dry your hands, okay? And because it's sanitizer, it's going to dry on its own. Now this actually needs to go on for about 20 seconds. How do you tell that 20 seconds have passed? As you wash your hands, you can sing the song Happy Birthday to You and sing it twice. How does that go? You can sing Happy Birthday to You. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gladys. Happy birthday to you. Repeat that a second time and you'll notice that it comes to about 22 seconds, and that should be enough for you to wash your hands. And should you feel that you have dirtied even your wrists, you can extend the rinsing and the washing to your wrists, and as you rinse so that the water flows off, and ensure that you dry your hands right after that.
Is that all? After I've washed my hands and I've done everything you have said, am I safe to just mingle with everyone?
Now, in the era of COVID-19, I would say you are not entirely safe to just mingle with everyone, and that introduces the concept of social distancing. What exactly is social distancing? You are trying to maintain a distance that is wider than normal, and that is about 1 meter if someone is not coughing or sneezing. This is about 1 meter.
I think we're
doing
well.
Yes, we're doing well. Yes. But if someone is coughing or sneezing, you want that distance to be about 3 meters.
Right.
That means they are outside the space of this
that we have
here. Yeah. So 3 meters is far away. They should cough and sneeze away from, you know, your place. And you'll notice that if you're in a lift, you cannot maintain a 1 meter distance.
Of course,
because people are crumbled in there, and if someone coughs or sneezes, everyone in there gets a cold.
True.
So those are some of the things. And also just self-quarantining. If you traveled to a region where there is coronavirus, you want to quarantine yourself. What does that mean? It means you don't interact with people. You'll be locked up in a room somewhere. We will serve you food without meeting you. So your food will be placed, you know, somewhere outside the room, and you pick it for yourself, and you don't go outside to interact with people until a period of 14 days is over, so that you prevent yourself from spreading the disease, because it's possible to spread COVID or coronavirus without you expressing the symptoms. So those are some of the things you want to do. And now that you are, you know, a mother, I don't know how you're going to deal with children, especially in an era where we are trying to prevent the spread of disease. How should we, you know, what do you tell your children so that they don't go outside to play with others?
Keep them busy. We have to really try and keep them busy in the house and make sure that they are staying indoors, come up with activities to engage them, because as soon as children are bored, you know what they're gonna do. They'll go out there and they'll want to find some fun and get some things to do. So it's advisable as much as possible, mothers, fathers, friends and neighbors, to not allow our children to interact unnecessarily within the estates and even in the compounds and up country where we are in different places and it seems like an open space.
And as people still go to church, can they do potluck? you know?
I don't think so. At
Why?
least not for now. We probably want to do it a little bit later because we don't want to be close to each other too much. That's one.
Yeah.
Then the other thing, again, these foods, the surfaces we touch. So what we have just learned, we may have the virus even on surfaces. And so we are not even too sure if it's even on your food.
All right, so sadly, no more potluck for those of us who enjoy potluck or you come to church just for potluck. We will have to survive without potluck for some time. And I love the thing you said, that we need to trust in God. That trust in God is one of the ways we can prevent the disease. Do you want to speak more about trusting in God? Are there practical ways of trusting in God?
True, we need to trust in God. At a time such as this, when there is so much fear and there is so much pain and we do not know what to do, you ask yourself, what are you hearing? Whom are you listening to? What do you hear? Do you hear fear or do you have faith? And fear makes us to be afraid, makes us to hide, makes us to have information that is not necessarily true. We actually sometimes resort to rumors. We have heard this, we have heard that. But when you have faith in God, which we know comes from the Word of God, in the book of Romans, we're told that faith comes by hearing the Word of God, and it will help us to overcome as a time such as this, and give us so much hope while we hang in there, because God has said it. And He will do it for us, that He is God, that no matter what, wherever you may be, whatever that is happening to you, our God is there, our God is everything, our God is all hearing, is all powerful, He will always be with us to the very end.
Amen. And with that, till next time, we hope that you'll keep yourself healthy, you'll keep yourself trusting in God and alive and doing God's work wherever you are, whether it's at home, at your workplace, whether you are self-quarantining. Please keep yourself trusting in God. God bless you.